Dr. Freeman! Barney said you were on the way. We got split up by snipers, and he's pinned down. Go ahead. He's relying on you.
Sniper streets. These sniper-filled streets are where we developed both the enemy and the core of the experience. We knew we wanted the sniper to shoot things near. Sniper streets. These sniper-filled streets are where we developed both the enemy and the core of the experience we hoped players would have. We knew we wanted the sniper to shoot things near the player, so we first focused on finding a variety of interesting targets for them to hit. We found it worked well if we used the player's view as a factor in selecting objects. The sniper's always-on laser sight meant that players had a constant indicator of the sniper's attention, so having it drift to a target that the player was looking at felt really responsive and provided great moments of tension.
Sniper Streets 2. Bullets in Half-Life 2 don't actually follow a flight path. They arrive at their target instantly. But for the sniper, with its slow rate of fire and the player's close attention to every shot, we wanted to simulate bullet travel. This approach also worked better with laser sight, where the sight flicks off and the bullet lands shortly after, depending on the distance to the sniper. However, this change introduced a new issue. We didn't want players to just sprint down the streets to evade shots, so the sniper had to lead a moving target, predicting where the bullet should hit. Predicting the player's future position was tricky, as players can change direction much faster than would be possible in the real world. So we added extra checks to catch behaviors like players quickly tapping left and right as they ran.
You're Barney's old friend, aren't you? Maybe you can help him. Snipers trapped him up on that warehouse roof. He was going for an active grenade, but...
Sniper Streets 3. One feature we tried in these streets was suppression fire. Many players hunkered down at the end of the street, would fire a burst at the sniper's window to see if it had any effect. So we experimented with making the laser sight flicker off briefly, giving players a moment to relocate. But after a number of playtests, we encountered two issues. First, it disrupted the tense move-and-hide gameplay we aimed to create with the sniper. Sprinting while firing wasn't much different from other actions we asked of the players in City 17. The second, more subtle issue was that players who discovered suppression fire first assumed it was required and would burn through ammo fast. If they ran out halfway through, they'd often give up, thinking they'd failed. If they made it, they'd frequently be left with no ammo. On the other hand, players who completed the scenario by stealth used almost no ammo at all. This resource gap between approaches made it near impossible to balance ammo for the sections that followed, so it didn't make it into the final game.
Don't forget to reload, Dr. Freeman. There's nothing. I'm gonna stay and hold down this spot.
Over here! Gordon, I can't move. These snipers got me pinned down. Gordon, lob a couple grenades. That'll clear them out. Gordon, take out these snipers, would you? Gordon, grenades! All right, thanks, Gordon. Now let's clear out of here. You're quite the returning hero these days, Gordon. Follow me. Follow me. Let me get this gate. My civil protection status still gives me limited clearance. Did you hear a cat just now? That damn... Watch your head up! There's an old building up ahead of us. Museum, something like that. Whatever the hell it used to be, now it's a nexus for Overwatch in City 17. It's the main source of pain for this part of town. There it is, the Overwatch nexus. Looks like they're mobilizing big time. You can sort of see the gate from here. I'll show you when we get to street level. We'll have to get in that building to open the gate. Even then, the suppression device will, suppress anyone coming through unless we shut it down. Then let's go!
Pardon me.
Dr. Freeman. We'll have to shut it down from inside.
How could you have thrown it all away? It staggers the mind. The man of science with the ability to see reactionary and fearful minds.
Get out of the way!
Take this med kit.
Ignorance and decay. Make no mistake.
Here, Patrick.
This is not a scientific revolution you've sparked.
Sorry, Freeman.
This is death and finality. You have plunged humanity into free fall. Even if you offered your services now, I cannot guarantee that our response would accept it. At the moment, I fear they have begun to look upon even suspicion. So much for serving as humanity's representative. Help me win back their... Sorry. Directly, Dr. Freeman. Yes, I'm talking to you, the so-called one free man. I have a question for you. It's
Fantastic!
This is not a scientific and finality. Even if you offer to surrender now, I cannot guarantee that our benefactor will accept it. At the moment, help me win back their trust, Dr. Freeman. Surrender while you still... Directly, Dr. Freeman. I'm talking to you, the so-called one free man. I have a question for you. How could you have thrown it all away? It's...
Take this med kit.
This is not a scientific revolution spark. This is death and finality. You have plunged humanity into free fall. Even if you offered your surrender now, I cannot guarantee that our benefactor would accept it.
Here, have a med kit.
So much for serving as humanity's representative. Help me win back their trust.
Bring it on!
I'm hurt.
Sorry, Freeman.
Take this med kit.
Get out of the way! Oh, turrets. Got the HGV suit, you deal with them. Then I'll work the security console.
Sorry.
Great, I'll open this up.
Here, patch yourself up.
We'll have to take out the generators one at a time. We've got 3 generators to disable. Might as well start with this one. Okay, 2 more generators to go. Overwatch owns the roof, and that's where we're headed. Follow me. Get patched up.
Loss detected.
Wow. With that, there must be something good in there. Go for it, Doc. I'll wait here till you shut it down. Be careful. One generator to go.
Combine!
Just like old times, eh, Gordon? Set some traps for them, Gordon. Set some traps for them, Gordon. Get on! Help here, Gordon! Set some traps for them, Gordon. That's it, they're all down. That'll shut down the suppressor on the roof as well. Let's head for the roof now, Gordon. I'm with you, buddy. Follow me. Let's head for the roof now, Gordon. Damn! Roof access is this way. This way, Gordon. Get down! There's our gate. Let me just get it open.
Dr. Freeman, wait!
I'm gonna stay here and keep these gates open long enough to make a difference. Go on up and connect the sky bridge. We need to let reinforcements come through from every possible direction. If any more citizens come through, I'll send them up to find you. See you when I see you, Gordon.
Take this medkit.
bank roof mortar. By the time we'd built the level track up to this point, it was obvious that it'd be fun for the player to get to use the mortar. I suppose that's the type of thing that should have occurred to us earlier. Do you think anyone will want to launch the explosives into the sky and have them drop down onto the bad guys? Yeah, I think so too. Anyway, players have spent all this time on the receiving end of it, so it would have been a nice reward to get to serve the Combine some of their own medicine. But as soon as we started to think about it, we realized how much work there'd be. Which, to be fair, is a thought you have every single day when you set out to make a video game. The mortar would need animations and effects now that the player is next to it, and there'd be a fair bit of work to implement a nice escalation of enemies down in the plaza to use it on. But even more fundamentally, we had no interface for a weapon this unique. How would players aim and fire it? It's hard to feel good about spending lots of time on a single moment in the game, so we decided our efforts were better spent elsewhere and moved on. Sorry, perhaps we'll solve the design conundrum of the mortar in a future installment of the Half-Life series.
Dr. Freeman, since you shut off the suppressor and opened the gate, we can really move people through now. The Combine's gonna feel the squeeze. We dropped a crate of rockets.
Strider. This area in front of the bank was where we figured out the Strider. When we first saw the concept art for it, we knew we wanted to get it into the game, but there were a ton of questions about how it would practically work. We'd never moved something that size through our game world, and at that scale, it needed to be dangerous, but how would players actually fight it? As with all of our enemies, there was always a question of how we'd get gameplay out of it. What kind of tools would level designers need to build scenarios with it? These were the kinds of questions we set out to answer in our experiments in this map.
Strider 2. Iterating on the Strider here finally gave us an experience we were happy with, as players needed to dash from cover to cover, avoiding its fire while hunting for rockets. We wanted players to feel like they were diving into cover at the last second, so we tuned the Strider's stitching gunfire pattern to telegraph impending danger. We also built a system of tracks for the Strider to follow, allowing it to dynamically switch between them to pursue the player or establish line of sight. This setup enabled level designers to carefully align Strider tracks with player cover for a balanced experience. The Strider's leg positioning was driven entirely by code, and its unpredictable movements meant we often had to fine-tune things to ensure it reliably kicked a car or troop container when needed.
Perf Arena. This arena came with a major challenge: performance. Its size and the combined Strider and Citizen AI pushed our limits here. When we ported Half-Life 2 to the Xbox, this arena couldn't ship without some design adjustments. Preserving the original intent and delivering the same player experience with fewer tools and space was a tricky balance.
Strider 4. While this map was the production map built for the Strider, we still had an original development map for testing its AI. We've always found a lot of value in having a solid test map for an AI, as it allows us to quickly try out new gameplay ideas and tune them easily. If there are bugs or design issues, we can isolate and iterate on them faster. Once the AI features are working well, we transplant them into the production maps for level designers to work with. The Strider's test map included rough outlines of ruined buildings, with infinite citizen spawners at various locations and heights to provide a constant stream of targets. This setup allowed us to refine the Strider's AI and stance changes to make it interesting and engaging, even to just sit back and watch it in action.
Space reuse. Returning to this space brought multiple advantages. First, the obvious one. Production costs for new areas are always high, so if we could add more gameplay to an existing area, it's a win. But for a hard fight like this one, where the player faces multiple striders, reuse has extra benefits. Since players have been through it before, they already have a sense of the arena layout. This time they're moving back to front, but the path largely follows their original route. This familiarity is useful when players need to move forward to grab resources for the fight. City 17's war-torn state also gave us the flexibility to adjust cover and add smaller obstacles along the path, keeping the environment dynamic and surprising.
Dr. Freeman! It's a mess out there. This close to the Citadel, they've turned the streets over to Striders. I think we can push them back if we can just get to high ground. We're almost to the Citadel wall, Doc. I don't know how the hell we're gonna breach it, but we made it this far. I'm sure you'll think it's... We have to get to the horse! Here, patch yourself.
Look out, Freeman!
Ammunition depleted.
plaza, knocking over walls and... I figured Alex wouldn't want to get any deeper in trouble, but hell, you try stopping him. Hey, dog! Not there! You can't get through that way! Well, I'll be damned. I think he wants you to go through, Gordon. You better hurry. And if you see Dr. Breen, tell him I said...